Wow, does it feel good to be back? Hey everybody, welcome to After Action Report, your numbers recap show for all Schmoedown matches to keep you caught up on all the action. I'm your host, Megs, here for the Call to Action podcast channel. We are back in season, so that means we are back to our regular programs, breaking down the matches, keeping you guys updated on everything that's going on, including storylines. Because storylines are going to be such a bigger deal during this season, I am going to be doing very brief storyline breakdowns so you guys are aware of everything going on, especially considering the direction the Schmoedown is going, which I will break down once we get into the actual pay-per-view event or the kickoff event that we had so far. It is available only to patrons right now. The matches and all the storyline beats are going to be dropping as time goes on. But so you know, this will be very much spoiler heavy. So if you don't want to be spoiled, come back another time and check this out when you've watched everything. But to start off with, I am going to do a brief breakdown of all the different manager announcements and kind of where everybody stands up to the point that we started the event on Saturday. So to start off with, we had Sam disband the usual suspects, and he is officially no longer a manager or seemingly ever a player. He has fully retired yet again for the second time. Next, we saw Chandra. He is going to be retaining Shazam, Andrew DiMolanta, and he's going to be picking up Brandon the Hornet Hanna, and he retains the ability to advise Kevin Smith could he ever come in for a match. Next, we're going to saw a message come in from Kaiser. He is retaining Kevin Smith, not surprising. He's going to pick up Nikki DiMolanta from the usual suspects roster because they're all free agents now. And he made a pitch to Ben Bateman to have Danger Zone return to the dungeon, and they will be getting a number one contender match should they decide to play for the dungeon yet again. Ben doesn't initially jump on the idea. He wants to go talk to Dan. We're kind of left on ice with that decision so far. But moving on into the rest of the week, we saw Finstock come in, or Gucci come in for the Finstock exchange. He's going to be retaining King Arthur, Gold Leader, and the Barbarian. Those are the only four that he's going to be signing right now. No idea on the fifth one so far. So far, nobody has completely filled out their roster fully of 5, just so you're aware of that. If the numbers don't make sense, no one has a complete full roster up to this point. Moving into our next announcement, we actually get a new faction and a new manager. Adam Witt, who was kind of a second manager in the dungeon last year, he is officially branching out into his new and brand new faction, which is called Fan Favorites. Love the name. Can't wait to see what kind of competitors he's going to get. He made no announcements of what competitors he's going to be approaching, but he did announce that he will be a new manager coming into Season 9. Next, we got an announcement from Shannon Barney for Corruption. Not surprising, she is retaining Marisol and Mike Kalinowski, her current champions. Also, Chance Ellison is coming back to keep Corruption, the team, together as they move forward. And also, she's going to be bringing back Laura Kelly for Star Wars. No news on whether Adam Collins will be coming back for Deception as a team to stay together. Didn't sound like Shannon was too excited to bring him back into the fold, but you never know what's going to happen there. Next, we actually got the decision. It was a signing ceremony for Ben Bateman with Kaiser. Ben refuses the offer. Dan's not interested in playing again as far as with the dungeon or Danger Zone, so Ben's on his own, and he's been talking to another manager. So Kaiser's kind of left with only his 2 competitors right now, Smets and Nikki DiMolanta, losing his star team of Danger Zone from last year. Moving into our next announcement, we had Winston come in and say that he is going to be retaining Paulo Yama, Ace Cabrera. No word on Lon. It is actually known that Lon will not be returning, so Final Exam as a team is now disbanded, but Winston is also going to be bringing on Amara Moses for IG and Clee Wiggins from Corruption to fill out 4 on his squad so far. Next, we had Kate for the Den. Not surprising, as we heard in Spectacular already, she's keeping Thomas Harper, keeping Saul, and also she's signing Jen Kemp, who was formerly a singles player, expressed interest in jumping into IG as well. But the other big one that she has is she announced a 4th competitor, Ben the Boss Bateman. Kate was the manager that Ben has supposedly been talking to, so as of right now, Ben is a part of the Den. The final announcement we got during the week was Janine. She was making an announcement on behalf of the Stars and Roxy Stryer. Roxy is working behind the scenes trying to get some new competitors. And as of right now, Janine and Alex Damon are the only two from the Stars that are going to be moving on, continuing with them into season 9. So this now brings us up to speed to the event that dropped on the Patreon on Saturday. It's patron only right now. The scenes and the matches are going to be dropping here in the next week or two. But so you know, spoiler warning ahead. I'm going to be breaking down all the matches, all the different storyline beats that we got during the event, including all the announcements that we got during the event. So if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, pause now, come back after you've seen everything. So to start off with this event, we got the reveal of the Shmominati, something that started way back in Season 7, was slightly touched on in Season 8, but now we see what appears to be the resolution of it with the reveal that Shmominati was actually Sam Levine. Now, it's also shown that part of the deal for the Shmominati disappearing is going to be Grace is going to be no longer the president. This makes Christian very happy. Sam is going to return as a player for a full season. So that announcement of him retiring lasted a full week. But anyway, Sam's going to be returning. Jay is going to be removed as the commissioner and reinstated as a player as well. And Sam is going to also be getting an automatic #1 contender shot because he tried to and succeeded in part of making Andrew Guy go crazy. He didn't get a title shot. Christian had that one little dig at Sam because of all the things that he put Christian through over the year or the past couple seasons, really. Sam is going to be getting a #1 contender match. He's back playing for a full year. Grace is gone. Jay is a competitor again. And from all appearances, the Shmominati is done. Were you surprised that it was Sam? Was there someone else that you were thinking it was going to be? Let me know down in the comments. Moving into the undercard of the event, it was the Wildberries facing off against Video Drew and Claudia Dolph. There is no name for the team. They're just kind of trying this out. This may be a one-off for them. It may not be. We don't know yet. But we make it very clear in the intro, the Wildberries are back to their antics, trying to sell merch, and Josh Makuga is terrified of Video Drew. But without further ado, let's jump right into that match itself and find out what happened. So as I mentioned, we have the Wildberries consisting of Elliot Dewberry and Josh Makuga facing off against Claudia Dolph and Video Drew. Coming out of round 1, Video Drew and Claudia Dolph are up by 17-16, with Makuga, Dewberry, and Dolph all three getting 8 points, missing 2 questions out of the 10 available questions, plus the bonus in round 1. Video Drew coming away with 9 points, just missing 1 question. As a side note, remember that we are dealing with the new format of 10 questions in round 1, plus a bonus for teams and singles and IG and Star Wars, as well as 5 questions in round 2. And also the 2, 3, and 5 structure in the final round still exists. And we also have the introduction of the wild cards, which stay tuned for a little bit more about that. Moving into round 2, Video Drew and Dolph decide to spin first, and they take Stephen King on their first spin. They come away with 7 out of 10 available points, checking down to multiple choice twice, missing one of those questions, and it is not able to be stolen by the Wildberries. The Wildberries decide to spin away from David Lynch on their first spin a wild card. It ends up being the wild card category, which is Die Hard in a blank. This category talking about the common tropes and themes that have been stolen from Die Hard in many other movies. The questions consisted of movies based on the Die Hard tropes. The Wildberries are able to come away with 9 out of 10 points, only shifting down to multiple choice once and getting that for the 1 point. So coming out of round 2, the Wildberries are up by 1, 25-24. In the final round, Claudia Dolph takes the 2-pointer for their team in Steven Spielberg. She is able to hit that. That bounces it over to the Wildberries, where Makuga hits a 2-pointer in Famous Actors and Actresses. Back over to Video Drew, who hits a 3-pointer in Scores and Soundtracks. Elliot Dewberry misses a 3-pointer in romance, but as a team, the Wildberries are able to hit their 5-pointer in Spy Films. That bounces it back over to Video Drew and Claudia Dahl for a 5-pointer in the 2000s, which they miss, which gives the Wildberries the win with a final score of 32-29, where the Wildberries were able to answer 23 of 29 questions for 79% accuracy and hit 74% of 43 available points. Claudia Dolph and Video Drew were able to answer 23 of 28 questions for 42% accuracy and scored 69% of 42 available points. So that wild card slice was definitely up the Wildberries' alley. It was really cool to see them back in action and back to a lot of their old ways. Video Drew and Claudia Dolph did work very well as a team as well, so it'll be interesting to see if we see them down the road. I will note that neither of them are part of factions at this point, so they are considered free agency teams moving forward as it stands right now. So after that match, we got our first major announcement about the rest of this season. Now, moving forward, every Friday night, we're going to have a big 2-hour event called Friday Night Titans. Essentially, it's going to be kind of like a Monday Night Raw. It's going to be filled with storylines. We may not know any of the matches coming up. We could be completely in the dark. Things could change last minute during the event. A competitor could step out at the last minute. Someone needs to sub in. Someone could get challenged during the event. It's going to be complete madness, and we're all here for it. But don't worry, there are going to be separate matches and the different storyline beats all released individually the following week. So if you don't want to sit down and watch the entire event, not sure why you wouldn't. It's going to be an awesome time to be able to watch everything happen. But if you just want to watch the matches or you just want to watch the storyline beats, those will be released separately. So next we move into the pre-show for our main event, which is going to be, of course, the third matchup between Chandra Dandapani and Kevin Smets. Now we start off with a brief scene where Roxy actually comes to Kevin as he's sitting waiting to go in for the match, and she comes in and talks to him. Smets is very thankful for everything that Roxy has done. They just have a nice little exchange there. Don't think much of it. Kaiser comes in, everything's proceeding as normal. Now, clearly in the MTS, nothing happens without a reason. So I'd like to hear in the comments what your guys' initial thoughts were when you saw that scene. Why did Roxy come in there? Knowing that she's looking to bring in a big competitor, did you think that maybe Roxy was going to try and poach Smets off of Kaiser? Let me know in the comments what you thought. But let's jump right into the match itself. The intros go in. Chandra and Smets are both in there. At this point, it was known that Chandra was a free agent with being dumped by the Swag faction. But Chandra makes a surprise switch by saying that he is now under new management. And that manager is Roxy Stryer. So all that time, Roxy was helping Smets, everything down the line. She told him that she shouldn't trust anybody. And apparently she was talking about herself because she has now turned on Smets as a friend and is now backing and managing his enemy during this match. So that was all the drama that happened prior to the match. Let's get into the drama that happened during the match. So as I mentioned, Chandra is now part of the Stars faction, Kevin Smets part of the Dungeon. Coming out of round one, Chandra is up by 2, 11-9, with Chandra getting that perfect round plus the bonus. Smets only missing one question in scores and soundtracks, but misses out on that bonus point opportunity and is down by 2 going into the second round, where we see that Chandra defers to have Smets spin first and decides to take Batman on the first spin. Smets sweeps the round for the full 10 points. Chandra decides to take Wizarding World on his first spin, and he also sweeps the round for the full 10 points. So Chandra is still up by 2, 21-19. In the final round, it is a back and forth with Smets starting with a 2-pointer in TMNT, Chandra having a 2-pointer in Wizarding World, Smets with a 3-pointer in Jurassic Park, Chandra's in Superman, Smets hitting a 5-pointer in Alien and Predator. Final question going to Chandra, 5-pointer in Swashbuckling Adventure. Chandra misses that question, which gives Kevin Smets the win with a final score of 29-26. where Kevin Smets answered 17 of 18 questions for 94% accuracy and hit 94% of 31 available points. Chandra hitting 18 of 19 questions for 95% accuracy and scored 84% of 31 available points. Now, because of Chandra getting the bonus point opportunity, their accuracy numbers are not exactly the same, but essentially both of them only missed one question. The problem was Smets's was a round one question, which was actually effectively worth 2 points because as soon as you lose that 1 point in round one, that automatically disqualifies you for the bonus question. So your first miss in round one is technically worth 2 points in your matches. But Smets only missing out on one question. Chandra also missed one question, but it was worth 5 points. It was the final question of the match. That was all that separated these two. They were neck and neck in the second round where they both swept their rounds. They kept it very competitive as I would expect. The smack talk was flying during the whole match, so I encourage you to go back, watch that entire match. It is all you would expect from both of these competitors. So that's everything for the matches, but we are far from done in this night. We had a surprise appearance from JTE at the end of this match after a very emotional interview from Jen and Kevin Smets, by the way, that was tearing up everybody. But regardless, after everything was tied up with the main event, JTE comes in and challenges Brendan the Kid Meyer to a singles match. Brendan Meyer comes in. It's a little bit of a passive-aggressive feeling. They were kind of teasing with each other back and forth. I am super excited for that to be a match coming up, which will very likely happen during this coming Friday's Friday Night Titans event. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for any smack talk or any previews coming up for that event, and especially all the things that are going to be dropping this week from Saturday's event. We got one more scene. Janine the Machine. Remember, I had her as one of the managers who came in and talked about the stars. Her and Alex Damon are the only ones part of the stars moving forward. Janine confronts Roxy and Chandra as they're leaving the event. Janine is not happy. She thought she could trust Roxy. Janine and Kevin Smets are really good friends. She thought that Roxy was really good friends with them too and feels betrayed. So Janine is now officially walking away from the stars. She leaves Roxy and Chandra there. She can't work with Roxy if she can't trust her. So she is now no longer part of the stars that we know of. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Don't worry, I'll be back next week breaking down the first event, Friday Night Titans. I am super excited to see everything that happens during that 2-hour event. So tune back in next Monday for the full recap of everything that happened. Also, before you leave, make sure that you've hit like on this video. Leave some comments about what your thoughts were on this first major event. And also make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so you're made aware every time we drop new videos on this channel, either from me or all the other people here at the Call to Action Podcast channel. Be sure to also check out any other shows on this channel that we've done previously and also the stuff that we're doing over on Twitch. Any of the graphics that I present here with the match breakdowns, I will be posting on the Facebook and Twitter accounts later on, so be on the lookout for those. But until next time, for the entire Call to Action Podcast crew, I'm your host, Megs, and this is After Action Report, signing off.